The first rule. Rule number 1. Don't fall for your roommate. That was literally the first thing Eli said when I moved into his apartment. Not welcome. Not make yourself at home. Not even here's the Wi-Fi password. Just, don't fall in love with me. Cocky? Much? To be fair, I wasn't planning to. I'd just gotten dumped, was 3 lattes away from a breakdown, and needed a cheap place to stay that didn't come with a side of murder Y vibes. He had the space. I had the emotional baggage. It worked. At first. But somewhere between our passive-aggressive fridge notes, accidental late-night confessions, and that one time I saw him shirtless with bedhead and a sleepy smile, I broke the rule. Maybe he did too. Now we're stuck in this weird, wonderful in-between. Half flirting, half fighting, all chaos. One thing's for sure. If love is a game, we definitely started on opposite teams. Let the story begin. Hey, dreamers. Welcome back to Blessing's Storyverse, where we don't just tell stories. We live them. Today's tale is full of mystery love twists. So grab your popcorn and let's dive into another chapter. Chapter 1. Rock bottom looks like this. There's no graceful way to get dumped in public, but getting dumped during your birthday dinner, while holding a sparkler in one hand and a red velvet cupcake in the other. That's peak humiliation. I just don't see a future with you. Naya, Jason said, calm as ever, while I blinked through glitter and tears. You're too soft. A camera flash went off. Someone's grandma clapped. I left with frosting in my hair and no dignity in sight. 2 weeks later, I was sleeping on my best friend's couch, surrounded by crumpled tissues and motivational quotes that made me want to punch a wall. My lease was up. My job contract had ended. And Jason was already dating someone named Maya. Not a typo, Maya. With an M. The universe was playing with me at this point. You can't keep hiding here, Rena said gently, setting a bowl of instant noodles on my lap. Maybe a change of scenery will help. That's how I ended up scrolling through roommate listings like they were dating apps. Swipe, cringe, reject. Until I found one that felt different. Room for rent. Clean. Quiet. No drama. That sounds boring, I muttered. That sounds safe, Rena corrected. Message them. I did. 2 days later, I was dragging a suitcase up a narrow staircase. Heart pounding as I reached apartment 4B, I knocked. The door swung open. And there he was. Tall, broad, sharp jawline. Arms crossed like I was already a problem. I knew that face. Eli, Jason's older brother. The one who never smiled. The one who didn't like me. And now, apparently my new roommate. Chapter 2. The roommate from hell, who looks like heaven. Eli stared at me like I'd personally insulted his entire bloodline. You're Naya? He asked, voice flat. I forced a smile. Hi. Surprise? He blinked once, then stepped aside to let me in, muttering something under his breath that sounded like, Rena's gonna pay for this. The apartment was spotless. Minimalist. All clean lines. Cold lighting and zero signs of life. It looked like the kind of place you'd see in a bachelor pad magazine. Not a crumb out of place. You can take the room down the hall, he said. Bathrooms shared. No parties. No loud music. No guests after 10. Got it. And don't touch my coffee machine. I held up my hands. Wouldn't dream of it. He nodded once and disappeared into his room. I exhaled. That went better than expected. Then I opened the bedroom door. No bed. Just a mattress on the floor and a single window. Okay, maybe not better, just survivable. I unpacked in silence, then made the mistake of trying to make tea. One wrong move and I knocked over a stack of carefully arranged mugs. Eli stormed out of his room. What happened? Tea emergency, I said, holding up the broken handle of a mug. He stared at it like it was a crime scene. You broke my favorite cup. It was an accident. He didn't say anything, just picked up the pieces, sighed, and walked away. At that moment, I realized something very important. Living with Eli was going to be war, the kind where one of us accidentally falls in love with the other. And I had a feeling it wouldn't be him. Chapter 3. The X Factor. I was 2 spoonfuls into my cereal when I saw the devil walk through the door. Jason, looking annoyingly perfect in a navy suit, holding a reusable coffee cup like he'd invented sustainability. My heart dropped. My spoon did too right into the milk. What the hell? I whispered, nearly choking on a cornflake. Eli barely looked up from his phone. He's picking up some old records. Don't faint. Why didn't you warn me? You didn't ask. He sipped his coffee calmly, like this was a totally normal Tuesday morning, and not the start of my villain origin story. Jason looked just as stunned to see me. Naya? I plastered on a smile. Hi, stranger. He blinked. What are you doing here? Living, I said. Thriving, flourishing, with your brother, apparently. His brows knit together as if his brain needed time to catch up. Eli handed him a dusty box and said, "Take it and leave." Jason's gaze moved between the two of us. Are you too? No, I said quickly. Yes, Eli said at the same time. I whipped my head toward him. Excuse me? He gave me a lazy shrug. Well, we live together. That counts for something. Jason frowned. Seriously? Why does it matter? I asked, arms crossed. Unless you still care. Jason opened his mouth to speak, but Eli stepped in front of me. She doesn't need your confusion or your crumbs. Jay, take the box. Go. The silence was deafening. Jason clenched his jaw, nodded, and left without another word. When the door shut, I turned to Eli. You didn't have to do that. He shrugged. He doesn't get to mess with you again. I blinked. That was kinda sweet. He rolled his eyes. Don't get used to it. But the way his ears turned pink told me everything I needed to know. Chapter 4. Accidental Date Night. It started with a blown fuse and ended with a bottle of wine. The power had gone out mid-dinner, right as I was trying to microwave leftover pasta. I stood in the dark kitchen, smacking buttons, when Eli strolled in with a flashlight like some rugged disaster movie hero. Let me guess, I said. You blame me for this too. He tilted the light toward my face. Did you overload the circuit with your hairdryer and your essential oil diffuser again? That was one time. And I stand by the eucalyptus. We managed to fix the fuse well. He did while I stood there holding the flashlight, like a glorified prop. But the microwave was fried, which meant no warm food, which meant frustration, which in my case led to wine. Eli raised a brow when I poured 2 glasses. I thought you were mad at me for blaming your diffuser, he said. I am, but I'm also hungry and bored. So pick one. Cold spaghetti alone, or cold spaghetti with a roommate who doesn't totally suck. He took the glass. Charming. We sat on the couch, sharing dinner straight from the Tupperware and sipping wine like we weren't too emotionally stunted. Humans stuck in a very weird domestic arrangement. So, I said, twirling noodles, were you always this grumpy, or is it just a me thing? He snorted. I'm like this with everyone. Wow, that's tragic. He cracked the tiniest smile. I marked it in my mental scoreboard as a win. We talked about music, his job as a sound engineer, the one time I tried yoga and fell asleep in child's pose. It was easy, strangely warm, when our knees accidentally touched and neither of us moved. I pretended not to notice. When he leaned in slightly to take the last sip of wine, I forgot how to breathe for half a second. You're not what I expected, he murmured again. I keep telling you that's a compliment, I whispered. He looked at me like he wanted to say something else, but his phone buzzed. He glanced at it, and the moment shattered. Work, he said, standing abruptly. Rain check on dessert. I watched him walk away, heart thudding louder than it should. It wasn't a date, but tell that to the butterflies in my stomach. Chapter 5. Jealous. Who, me? It all started with a delivery guy and a smoothie. I was on my way out for a walk when I passed Eli in the hallway, wearing a loose grey hoodie and earbuds. He barely glanced up until the elevator doors opened and Jordan from 3C stepped out, flashing his signature charming smile. Hey, Naya, he said, holding out a smoothie. Strawberry banana, no sugar, extra cheer like last time. I grinned. You remembered. Eli pulled out one earbud. You know the delivery guy? Jordan laughed. I'm not the delivery guy. I manage the juice bar downstairs. He's also in a band, I added, sipping the smoothie. They're playing at Luna Lounge this weekend. Eli blinked. And you're going? Maybe, I said. Jordan invited me. Cool, Eli said, voice flat, eyes unreadable. I didn't know why, but my heart sped up like I'd just poked a sleeping bear. Jordan waved and disappeared down the hall. The silence between Eli and me was thick enough to spread on toast. You okay? I asked, nudging him. He shrugged. Free smoothies and live music. Sounds like a great date. It's not a date, I said. He didn't look at me. Didn't say it was. You sound jealous. That got his attention. I'm not jealous, he said slowly. I just think you should be careful with guys like that. Like what? Too charming. Too fast. Too temporary. I tilted my head. And you're what? The opposite? He didn't answer. We stared at each other, both pretending not to care and both failing miserably. Then, as if the universe couldn't help itself, a bead of smoothie dripped onto my shirt. Great, I muttered. Now I need to change. Eli stepped back, giving me space. Charming and messy. Jordan doesn't stand a chance. I snorted. That sounded dangerously close to flirting. He smirked. Don't flatter yourself. But the way his eyes lingered on me said otherwise. Chapter 6. Mixed signals and midnight snacks. I couldn't sleep. Maybe it was the smoothie. Maybe it was the smirk Eli had given me before he disappeared into his room. Either way, I found myself standing in the kitchen at midnight, spooning peanut butter straight from the jar like a woman on the edge. I didn't expect company, but then I heard soft footsteps, and a sleepy-looking Eli appeared in the doorway, shirtless, rubbing the back of his neck. You okay? He asked, voice gravelly. I blinked. Do you always show up half-dressed when the fridge light's on? He gave me a crooked smile. Only when there's peanut butter involved. My heart did an embarrassing little flip. I passed him the jar. Knock yourself out. He grabbed a spoon and leaned against the counter beside me, just existing in that silent, unbothered Eli way. It should have been awkward, but it wasn't. So, he said after a beat, are you really going out with Jordan on Saturday? I paused mid-spoon. You said it wasn't a date. I didn't say I believed you. I turned to face him. Why do you care? He didn't answer right away. Just looked at me, eyes softer than I'd ever seen them. You've been different lately, he said quietly. More yourself. And that bothers you? No, he said. It makes it harder not to notice. I froze. You keep giving me these signals, Eli, I whispered. And I can't tell if you're pulling me closer or pushing me away. He set the spoon down and looked at me like he was seeing me really seeing me for the first time. I don't know what I'm doing, he admitted. But I don't want you to go out with him. Then say something real, I said. Not just rules and sarcasm. A pause. Then softly, stay in, with me. Silence. Then the microwave beeped behind us, like it had something important to contribute. I laughed, breathless. Fine, I said. But you're making the popcorn. He grinned. Deal. And just like that, the air shifted. Less enemy, more maybe. Less roommate, more something else. Chapter 7. The morning after, sort of. The popcorn never happened. Instead, we ended up on the couch, knees touching, a movie playing in the background that neither of us paid attention to. Somewhere between Eli handing me the blanket and me teasing him for choosing a cheesy rom-com. I fell asleep. When I woke up, I was tucked under his arm. His arm. I blinked blearily at the soft sunlight, filtering through the blinds, and tried not to panic. His chest rose and fell slowly. His jaw slack, lips parted slightly in sleep. He looked peaceful. Too peaceful for a man who spent most of his day being sarcastic and emotionally unavailable. I tried to shift without waking him, but the second I moved, his eyes opened. Hey, he said, voice still raspy from sleep. You drooled on me. I gasped. I did not. He smirked, pulling his arm back as he stretched. Kidding. But you did talk in your sleep. Oh my God, I groaned. What did I say? He pretended to think. Something about strawberries. Or was it Jordan? I punched his arm with a pillow. He laughed, and it did something weird to my insides. Before I could say anything else, his phone buzzed. His expression changed as he looked at the screen, like someone hit pause on the warmth in the room. Everything okay? I asked. He hesitated. It's my ex. She's in town. Oh, I said, sitting up straighter, pulling the blanket tighter around me. She wants to meet, for closure or whatever. You gonna go? I don't know, he muttered. It's complicated. I nodded, trying not to feel stupid for thinking last night meant something. Maybe it was just comfort, or routine, or convenience. Definitely not feelings. Definitely not heartbreak knocking softly on my door. Well, I said, standing up. Let me know if I should start labeling the milk again. You know, just in case she stays over. His eyes snapped to mine. Naya. No worries, I said with a smile that hurt. We're roommates. No rules against baggage. Then I turned and walked away before he could see the look on my face. Chapter 8. Closure. Apparently, by Saturday afternoon, Eli still hadn't mentioned his ex again. I told myself I didn't care. I wore my best no makeup look. Tight jeans and a loose sweater that said, I'm chill, but also thriving without you. Jordan had invited me to the Luna Lounge show again, and suddenly it didn't seem like the worst idea. I wasn't going to sit at home waiting for a man who couldn't decide what he wanted. Eli was in the kitchen when I walked out, dressed and ready. His eyes traveled over me slow, surprised. A little too long. You going out? He asked, casually sipping coffee. Yep. With him? Why not? I said brightly. You said you might be meeting your ex, right? He flinched just slightly. I'm not. Oh. I grabbed my bag. Well, I am. I saw the muscle tick in his jaw. You don't even like Jordan. Maybe I'm exploring my options, I said, tossing my hair. He set the mug down. You're mad. Nope. I opened the door. I'm fabulous. But before I could walk out, he reached for my hand. Warm. Firm. Desperate. I didn't go, he said. I paused. Why? Because the only closure I need is knowing she's not you. The world stopped spinning for a second. I swallowed, Then what are we doing, Eli? Because I don't know when I became your maybe. He stepped closer. You're not a maybe. He kissed me. Soft, careful, like he was afraid I'd disappear. And just like that, the noise in my head faded. I've been trying to figure it out, he whispered against my lips. But all I know is, when you walk away, it feels like losing something I never knew I needed. I blinked, stunned into silence. The sass, the sarcasm, it all melted into that one truth. I didn't go to Luna Lounge. Jordan would understand. Because sometimes, closure isn't a conversation with an ex. Sometimes it's choosing the person who finally sees you. Chapter 9. Roommate rules rewritten. Rule number 1 used to be, don't fall for your roommate. Rule number 1 was officially on fire. Things were different now. Mornings meant 2 mugs instead of 1. We argued over Spotify playlists. And Eli had started leaving me little post-it notes. Don't forget lunch. You look cute when you snore. Rude, but also not wrong. We hadn't defined anything, and honestly, I was okay with that for now, until his mother showed up, unannounced, in the middle of a Sunday afternoon, holding a lemon pie and eyes sharp enough to slice it without a knife. You didn't tell me she was coming, I hissed as we scrambled to clean the living room. I forgot, he muttered, fluffing a throw pillow like it owed him money. She's gonna think I'm just some girl you're hooking up with. Well, aren't you? I threw the pillow at his head. He grinned. When his mom walked in, I was ready to charm, impress, and possibly bribe her if things got weird. But then she looked at me and said, "Oh, you're the girl." I blinked. What? She talks about you, she said, turning to Eli. Says you leave your hair products everywhere and hum off key in the mornings. Mum, Eli groaned. I gaped at him. You talk about me. She also said you make him laugh again. That shut me up. We sat. We ate pie. His mom told embarrassing childhood stories. And Eli kept sending me warning glares across the table that only made me laugh harder. Later, after she left and the apartment was quiet again, I looked at him. So, your mom likes me. He leaned in, smirking. I like you more. Ugh, don't say sweet things. I'm emotionally fragile. He cut my face gently. Then I'll say it again when you're ready to believe it. My heart did a somersault. Maybe this wasn't just a fling. Maybe, just maybe, we were rewriting the rules. Chapter 10. The almost breakup. It started with laundry. Like all disasters do. I accidentally shrunk his favorite hoodie. The one he wore when he was stressed, tired, or trying not to talk about his feelings. I told you not to touch my stuff, Eli snapped, holding up the now child-sized hoodie like it personally betrayed him. I was helping. I snapped back. You've been drowning in work and forgetting to eat. Forgive me for trying to be, I don't know, nice? Yeah. Well, maybe I didn't ask for nice. The words hung in the air like smoke. And just like that, we were back to being 2 strangers who shared an address. I stormed into my room, slamming the door so hard my vision rattled. Was this it? Was this where the messy, undefined, almost relationship ended? Later that night, I sat in bed, arms wrapped around my knees, phone in hand, debating whether to text him from 12 feet away. But I didn't need to, because 5 minutes later, there was a knock. Eli. No hoodie. Just raw, tired eyes and regret carved into every inch of his face. I'm sorry, he said. I freaked out. Not because of the hoodie, because this is real now. And that scares the hell out of me. I swallowed hard. I'm scared too. He came in, sat on the floor beside my bed like he didn't. Nowhere else to put the weight of it all. I don't want to ruin this, he said quietly. You make everything feel less dark. I looked at him. Really looked. The walls were down. The sarcasm was gone. It was just him, messy, stubborn, beautifully human. I reached for his hand. We don't need to figure everything out right now, I whispered. We just need to not run the second it gets hard. He nodded. Stay then? Only if you let me shrink one more hoodie. He laughed, leaned in, and kissed me soft, steady, certain. Not a first kiss. Not a last. Just the kind that says, I'm not going anywhere. Chapter 11. No more rules. We didn't mark the day things officially changed. There was no big romantic speech, no Instagram announcement. Just slow mornings, lingered kisses, shared playlists and toothbrushes left side by side. It happened the way falling asleep does gradually, then all at once. Roommates to something real. One night, we were curled up on the couch watching a ridiculous baking show when Eli turned to me and said, I told my landlord I want to renew the lease. I blinked. Okay. With you? My heart paused. You want us to keep living together? I asked. He took my hand, threading his fingers through mine like it was the most natural thing in the world. I want to live with you, he said. Not just share a space. Share everything. I stared at him. This man who once argued with me over fridge labels now wanted to build a life with me in it. No more roommate rules. I teased. He grinned. Just one. Oh? He leaned in, whispering, Don't fall in love with anyone else. I laughed, pulling him closer. Too late. The doorbell rang. Our pizza was here. As he went to answer it, I glanced around the apartment. Our apartment. The once strict boundaries between my side and his had blurred long ago. Now, there were throw blankets he pretended not to like, but used every night. Candles he always claimed were too floral, but kept lighting anyway. His sneakers beside my fuzzy slippers. It was chaos. It was cluttered. It was perfect. And it was ours. Eli came back, holding the pizza box with a stupid grin. Pepperoni, extra cheese, no olives, just how you like it. I'm rubbing off on you, I said smugly. He leaned down and kissed my forehead. You have no idea. So yeah, we broke every roommate rule in the book. And I'd do it all again. Because somewhere between hallway arguments, midnight snacks, and one very shrunk hoodie, I fell for the boy next door. And lucky me, he fell right back. 5 months later. Rule number 1. Still broken. Rule number 2. Make new rules together. And we did. 5 months after that almost breakup and the hoodie incident, Eli and I are still sharing a 1-bedroom apartment because somewhere along the way, I stopped pretending the couch was comfortable and just stayed in his bed. His idea, obviously. The post-its haven't stopped. Now they say things like, don't forget you're amazing. I'll kill the spider in the bathroom, but you owe me a coffee. Also, I love you. Duh. We're still figuring things out. Like how he takes up too much space in the kitchen, that somehow makes the best pancakes. Like how I leave my hair everywhere and still hog the blankets. But we're also figuring out how to choose each other on the boring days. The hard ones and the days we mess up and have to say, I'm sorry more than once. Today he surprised me with a keychain. It says, the roommate I'd break every rule for. Cheesy? Yes. Perfect? Also yes. I kissed him, then threatened to shrink another hoodie just to keep things spicy. And as we lay there on the couch, limbs tangled, a new movie will never finish playing in the background, I realized something. This isn't just a love story. It's our story. Messy, hilarious, complicated, and entirely ours. So yeah, I broke the rule. And it was the best mistake I ever made. The real end. And that's another chapter from Blessing's Storyverse. If this story hits you in the feels, leave a like, Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe because trust me, the next plot twist is even crazier. Until next time, keep living like the main character. Bye.